drop a comment. Let me know where you're joining from tonight. We're going to be diving into some music hot takes. No rage bait, no negativity. Just real constructive conversations about sound design, frequency, and where modern music production is actually heading. If you love beat making, synth design, or just care about how music feels in your ears, then you're in the right place. If you're new here, my name is Reflection. I produce trip hop, chill hop, and progressive lo-fi. 100% original compositions, 0 samples, tuned intentionally to 432 Hertz. My current album, Herbs and Spices, is streaming everywhere right now across all DSPs. And the companion project, the little brother, called More Herbs and Spices, drops this Friday, August the 14th. Everything we discuss tonight comes straight out of the philosophy behind those two projects. Tonight, we're going to be running through a whole board of topics. On the screen right now, you can see our first one up for debate. Standard 440 Hertz music is stressed out. 432 Hertz is the cure. Let's break down why modern digital audio feels so fatigued, and what happens when you shift the frequency back to acoustic warmth. Let me know in the chat, have you ever experimented with 432 Hertz tuning? Can you feel the difference when a track hits your headphones? Let's talk about it. When you sit down to construct an entire body of work, when you step into the studio, not just to write songs, but to architect an environment, you inevitably confront the physics of how music touches the listener. For decades, standard modern production has operated under an arbitrary convention. Standard pitch centered at A being 440 Hertz. It's functional, it's utilitarian, and it gets the job done across global broadcasting. But if we interrogate that standard, we realize it was designed primarily for industrial efficiency and acoustic projection in rigid concert spaces, not necessarily for psychological resonance or sonic intimacy. Now let's be entirely clear and grounded about what we're doing when we shift the master tuning down to A, 440. When we tune from A being 440 Hertz, down to its warmer neighbor, 432 Hertz. The defensible, practical reality, the core foundation, is that tuning your instruments to 432 Hertz is a deliberate acoustic choice. It subtly recalibrates the harmonic spectrum, softening the harsh transient bite of digital synth engine overtones, and gives analog waveforms a richer, more organic decay. It lowers the tension across strings, changes the resonance of synthetic timbre, and offers a gentler, more accessible frequency profile to the human ear. That alone makes it a great sound design tool. But when you commit an entire project, every synth patch, every progressive melody, every bass line, constructed from the ground up without relying on borrowed samples to 432 hertz, you cross a threshold into something far more expansive. You step into the domain of sonic intentionality. We live in an era characterized by hyper-compressed digital noise, relentless auditory clutter, and music explicitly engineered for transient, high dopamine stimulation. In that landscape, master tuning isn't merely a technical setting on a synthesizer. It is a philosophy of listening. Tuning to 432 hertz aligns with natural harmonic proportions, mathematical ratios that mirror organic sacred geometry. It lowers the perceptual pressure on the nervous system, shifting the listener from passive background consumption into an active somatic experience. It transforms a lo-fi trip-hop track from simple ambient mood music into a genuine sanctuary, a deliberate frequency space designed for mental restoration, focus, and emotional alignment. That's why Herbs and Spices, available right now across all DSPs, and its companion project, More Herbs and Spices, dropping August the 14th, were composed entirely in this frequency space. It's an invitation to step away from the harshness of the modern grid, turn off the noise, and tune into a piece of music designed from its very foundation to restore you. Let me know what your thoughts are about that. Do you think that standard 440 hertz music is stressed out and that 432 hertz is the cure? Or do you think it's just a placebo effect and we're all barking up the wrong tree? Comment below. Let me know how you feel in the comment section, because this is something that people go back and forth with in the music production space. In the background, you're hearing some unpublished music from the lab here. This doesn't have a name yet. This will probably be coming out on the Ice Cream project, which will be released in a couple of weeks' time. Let's move on to another topic. Let's address something happening across the entire industry right now. The absolute obsession with single chasing. We have been conditioned by streaming algorithms to believe that a song only has value if it can hook someone in the first 3 seconds or go viral on a short form feed. And look, to be totally fair and reasonable, releasing individual singles makes sense from a purely tactical standpoint. It keeps an artist in the feed. It satisfies the algorithm. And it gives people quick, bite-sized entry points into a profile. But when every decision in a recording studio is dictated by chasing immediate, high dopamine gratification, we lose the entire concept of a journey. Music isn't meant to just be consumed in 15-second fragments. The most impactful bodies of work in history, the ones that stick with you at 2 a.m., the ones that anchor specific moments in your life, were built as full-length thematic suites designed to be experienced from track 1 to the very end. That complete arc is precisely why I built Herbs and Spices, available on all DSPs right now, and why its companion album, More Herbs and Spices, drops this Friday, August the 14th. When you listen to Herbs and Spices front to back, you are not listening to a random collection of algorithmic playlist fillers. You're hearing a continuous 100% original composition with 0 samples, 0 shortcuts, tuned deliberately to 432 Hz, where track 1 thematically and spiritually flows into track 2, building a visceral stereo field that lets your mind actually settle in. It's designed as a sanctuary. You press play, take off the skip button, sit back and let the project breathe. Because when you give music room to tell a full story, you don't just hear it, you live inside of it. That's Herbs and Spices, available now on all DSPs, and More Herbs and Spices coming out this Friday, August the 14th, on all DSPs. Time for a drink. Just realized I've mistyped my album in our chat here. It's not Herbs and Spice, Herbs and Spices. Let me fix that before we go forward. Unlock. No, lock, unlock. Okay, that's better. Okay. Next topic for today's stream. We're 13 minutes in and we're 3 topics in. Hey Leo, what's up, man? We're doing hot music takes today, talking about if AI music has made more music more boring or if human errors win. If you're not doing so already, please like and subscribe. Hey, what's up, Brian? Thank you for joining the stream. So let's go into today's the next hot take. Now, if you don't know already, my name is RFLXN. I produce trip hop, chill hop, and progressive lo-fi. 100% original compositions, 0 samples, tuned intentionally to 432 Hz. My current album, Herbs and Spices, is streaming everywhere right now across all DSPs. And its companion project, More Herbs and Spices, drops this Friday, August the 14th. And everything we're discussing tonight comes straight out of the philosophy behind those 2 projects. So if you're not doing so already, please be sure to throw some hearts on the live if you can. Show me some love. Let's jump into the next topic. So we have a preview here. AI perfection made music boring. Let's talk about the giant elephant in the studio right now. Artificial intelligence and hyper-quantized production. Now let's be entirely fair and objective. Artificial intelligence tools have their place. if you need a quick royalty-free bed for a corporate video, or if you're using algorithms to clean up unwanted room noise, the technology is undeniably efficient. It's practical, fast, and solves functional problems. But there's a massive difference between generating functional background noise and crafting an authentic piece of art. What we're seeing across the landscape today is a flood of hyper-perfect, computer-generated music where every single note sits rigidly on a grid, every transient is flattened, and every harmonic is polished until it loses all character. And when something sounds surgically clean, music loses its pulse. The human brain is not wired to connect with clinical perfection. We connect with the subtle friction in a performance. We connect with the micro-timing offsets, the velocity shifts, the way a synth note slightly bends when a real finger presses a physical key. That human element, the unquantized tactile spirit of music, is the entire backbone of Herbs and Spices and the upcoming album, More Herbs and Spices. Every keyboard line, every trip-hop beat, every progressive layer on these projects was performed and sequenced by hand. 100% original, 0 pre-made loops, and 0 artificial intelligence shortcuts, and tuned to 432 Hertz. When you listen, you're hearing human intention at every step, because at the end of the day, algorithms can imitate structure, but they can't replicate soul. If you're new here, I'm Reflection. I produce trip hop, chill hop, 100% original compositions, 0 samples, tuned intentionally to 432 Hertz. My current album, Herbs and Spices, is streaming everywhere right now across all digital streaming platforms. And the companion project, More Herbs and Spices, drops this Friday, August 14th. Everything we're discussing tonight comes straight out of the philosophy behind those 2 projects. So if you're not doing so already, please follow the channel to stay tuned for more music releases. Share if you can, and post a comment in the comment section and in the chat, live chat, to let me know, do you agree with me? Am I chatting nonsense? Do you disagree with me? I'm happy to take on all comers. Please engage with the chat. Let's move on to the next hot topic. Take a quick drink here, a little reflection break. In case you're wondering what's in my cup, don't worry about what's in my cup. No, I'm joking. What's in my cup is Mountain Dew, Baja, Carbo Citrus, Tropical Citrus Punch. Just what you need on a warm summer night. Quench your thirst and give you some flavor. All right, folks, let's jump into the next topic. Because this next one is going to get right to the core of creativity in 2026. The art of original sound design versus the culture of sampling. Now we have to respect the history. let's be entirely grounded. Sampling is and always will be a foundational art form in hip-hop, trip-hop, and lo-fi. Flipping a sample, taking something known and recontextualizing it with that specific crunch and texture, that requires real skill and an ear for the groove. I've got nothing but respect for all the crate diggers out there and all the MPC masters who built this foundation. But we have to ask ourselves, where's the evolution? When you lean exclusively on borrowing a melody, a chord progression, or even a pre-made texture pack, you're interacting with someone else's emotional intention. Sound design, the actual process of starting with a raw synthesizer oscillator, sculpting it with filters, envelopes, and modulation until it becomes something that didn't exist 2 minutes ago. That is where you establish a unique identity. It forces you to construct the very texture of your sanctuary rather than just decorating it with vintage wallpaper. That total immersion in original construction is exactly what defines Herbs and Spices, available everywhere right now. And the new album, More Herbs and Spices, dropping this Friday, August the 14th. Every progressive melodic line, every lush trip-hop texture, every synth patch, it's all built from the ground up, tuned intentionally to 432 Hertz. 0 samples were used in the making of these projects. Because when you design the sound yourself, you aren't just telling a story. You're building a world where the story lives in. If you're new here, my name is Reflection. I produce trip hop, chill hop, and progressive melodic lo-fi. 100% original compositions, 0 samples, tuned intentionally to 432 Hertz. My current album, Herbs and Spices, is streaming everywhere right now across all DSPs, and the companion project, More Herbs and Spices, drops this Friday, August 14th. Everything we discussed tonight comes straight out of the philosophy behind those 2 projects. Let's move on to the next topic. We're 23 minutes in, done a bunch of topics already. We're really going in today. Have a quick little liquid break, folks. That was nice. Okay, let's dive into a topic that sits right at the heart of the modern beatmaking community. The shift from passive background lo-fi to active melodic storytelling. Now let's be entirely fair and acknowledge the foundation here. Passive lo-fi, that continuous, low-slung, steady-state mood music, has been an absolute sanctuary for millions of people, me included. It got a whole generation through late-night study sessions, long work hours, and high-stress days. That functional background utility has immense value, and it earns its place in modern culture for a reason. But if we're honest about where the music is right now, we've hit a wall of absolute saturation. When a music genre becomes defined entirely by repetitive 3-chord loops and background static, it stops moving forward. It stops demanding your attention and starts blending into the furniture. Music isn't meant to just be background noise that you forget is playing. It's meant to evoke feeling. Music is meant to take you somewhere. Music should make you pause what you're doing and pay attention to a transition or a progressive melodic shift. We need trip hop and chill hop and lo-fi to reclaim its edge, its complexity, and its musicality. That exact evolution is what I built into Herbs and Spices, out right now on all streaming platforms. And the companion project, More Herbs and Spices, dropping this Friday, August the 14th. Instead of relying on passive looping textures, these projects are loaded with progressive chord movements, expressive lead synth lines, and dynamic structural changes. Every single composition is 100% original, written from scratch, without any samples, and tuned intentionally to 432 Hertz to give those rich melodies room to breathe. It's lo-fi and trip-hop, designed not just to sit in the background, but to actively move you. If you're new here, my name is Reflection. I produce trip-hop, chill-hop, and progressive melodic lo-fi. 100% original compositions. 0 samples, tuned intentionally to 432 Hertz. My current album, and my debut album actually, Herbs and Spices, is streaming everywhere right now, across all DSPs. And the companion project, More Herbs and Spices, drops this Friday, August the 14th. Everything we're discussing tonight in the live stream comes straight out of the philosophy behind those two projects. Reposition myself a little bit. Let's get front and center for the camera. Now, let's talk about how we actually experience and consume music in 2026. Because something fundamental has shifted in the relationship between the listener and the art. Let's be entirely reasonable and acknowledge the massive benefit of the modern streaming landscape: accessibility. The fact that you can open an app and instantly access a personalized, algorithmically curated stream of sound catered to your exact mood at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, that is an extraordinary technological achievement. It lowers the barrier to entry, and it introduces people to sounds they might never have stumbled across in a traditional record store. But there's an undeniable side effect to letting an algorithm choose your soundtrack every single hour of the day. When music is constantly fed to you through endless, automated mood cues, you stop actively collecting. You stop learning who made the record, what story inspired it, how the synths were patch designed, or why track 4 transitions into track 5 the way it does. Music becomes like tap water coming from your local utility, always running in the background, but barely savored. When you stop seeking out specific projects with intention, you lose that deeply personal feeling of ownership over your own musical tastes. Restoring that intentional, active connection is the spirit behind Herbs and Spices, out right now across all DSPs, and the companion project More Herbs and Spices, dropping this Friday, August 14th. These projects weren't engineered to sit passively in an automated mood queue. They are full, multi-layered thematic suites, 100% original, 0 samples, composed intentionally, entirely in 432 Hz. Designed for the listener who wants to sit down, press play on track 1, look at the track list, and genuinely experience an artist's world from start to finish, from peace to euphoria to psychosis, depression, and everything in between. If you don't know already, my name is RFLXN. I try and stream live at least once or twice a week on TikTok, usually on Tuesday evenings and Thursday evenings. I produce trip hop, chill hop, and progressive lo-fi. I make 100% original compositions without using any samples, and I tune my music down intentionally to 432 Hz. My current album, Herbs and Spices, is streaming everywhere right now across all digital streaming platforms. And the companion project, More Herbs and Spices, drops this Friday, August the 14th. Everything we're discussing tonight comes straight out of the philosophy behind those two projects. Time for a little drink. Let's talk about tempo. Not just as a numerical BPM setting on a door grid, but as a deliberate lifestyle statement in 2026. Now let's be entirely clear and grounded. High BPM, high octane music has a vital, irreplaceable position in culture. If you're running on a treadmill, driving down an open highway, or standing in a packed festival crowd, like I was last weekend, you need that kinetic driver. Fast tempos deliver an undeniable, immediate physiological rush. And there is an extraordinary production craft required to make that high energy track hit with impact. I love house music. I love minimal house. I love progressive house. I love techno. I love drum and bass. And I really, really love hardstyle. And I'm really looking forward to working at Wasteland this September. But look at the broader landscape that we inhabit every single day. When we are constantly subjected to hyper-accelerated media, rapid fire feeds, hyper compressed audio, and a relentless expectation to process information at breakneck speed. When every aspect of life is pushing you to hurry up, music shouldn't match that anxiety. It should offer a counterweight. When you pull the tempo back into that deep, slow-burning trip-hop and chill-hop range, something remarkable happens. The acoustic space opens up. The weight of the low-frequency bass sounds increase. And synthesizer patches develop a visceral physical resonance, and the listener finally gets permission to exhale. That intentional decompression is the fundamental architecture behind Herbs and Spices, available right now across all digital streaming platforms. And the companion record, More Herbs and Spices, dropping this Friday, August the 14th. Every single piece across these two albums was written with space in mind. No frantic rush, zero samples, 100% original progressive arrangements, and tuned intentionally to 432 hertz to give your nervous system a genuine sanctuary. It's an invitation to slow the wheel down, put on a proper pair of headphones, and reclaim your time. If you're new here, my name's Reflection. I produce chill hop, trip hop, and progressive melodic lo-fi. 100% original compositions, zero samples, tuned intentionally to 432 hertz. My debut album, Herbs and Spices, is streaming everywhere right now across all digital streaming platforms. And the companion project, More Herbs and Spices, drops this Friday, August the 14th. Everything we discussed tonight comes straight out of the philosophy and the belief system behind those two projects. Now let me throw a question out to everybody in the chat right now. And I want to see your answers rolling in as we think about this and talk about this. When was the last time you fell in love with a record specifically because of a genre label? Or did you fall in love with it because of how it made you feel? When was the last time you fell in love with a record specifically because of its genre label? Or did you fall in love with it because of how it made you feel? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because we need to address how rigid genre boxes are stifling music production. Now look, let's be completely fair and practical. Genre tags serve a purpose. Algorithms need metadata. Streaming DSPs need bucket categories. And when a new listener asks, what kind of music is this? Saying lo-fi or chill hop gives them an immediate mental anchor. It's an efficient roadmap. But here's where the trap lies. Why are we letting rigid store shelf categories dictate what happens inside the studio? When an artist sits down and says, I can't put a progressive chord change here because lo-fi is supposed to be 3 repeated chords. Or I can't bring in a heavy trip hop rhythm because this needs to stay to be a soft, steady background beat. Do you know what happens? The checkbox wins and the music loses its edge. The most iconic eras in sound history happened when artists deliberately blurred the boundaries, taking the head nod bounce of hip-hop, the atmospheric depth of trip-hop, and the harmonic richness of progressive composition, and fusing them into something unclassifiable. So let me ask you straight up, are you listening for a category? Or are you listening for an authentic identity? The exact refusal to sit within a single box or be compartmentalized is the genetic code of the DNA of Herbs and Spices, available right now across all streaming platforms, and the upcoming companion album, More Herbs and Spices, dropping this Friday, August the 14th. I didn't make these records to sit neatly inside of a pre-packaged playlist template. They fuse the weight of trip-hop, progressive melodic lines, and lo-fi textures. 100% original, zero borrowed samples, written and played entirely from scratch in 432 Hertz. It's built for the listener who values spirit over labels. If my voice and face is new to you, very nice to meet you. My name is Reflection. I produce progressive melodic lo-fi, trip hop and chill hop. I make 100% original compositions with zero samples, which are intentionally tuned to 432 Hertz. My current album, Herbs and Spices, is streaming everywhere right now across all DSPs. And the companion project, More Herbs and Spices, drops this Friday, August 14th. Everything we discussed tonight comes straight out of the philosophy behind those two projects. That Mountain Dew is so good, but I can feel it burning a hole through the enamel in my teeth. I should really have a water chaser. That's rock and roll right there. Okay, I want to ask everybody a serious question right now, and I want you to be completely honest with me. When you listen to a beat, do you want it to feel like it was programmed by a digital clock? Or do you want to feel the natural, unquantized human lean of a real producer sitting behind the pads and behind the boards? Drop your take in the chat while we break this down, because grid quantization is one of the biggest debates right now in modern sound design. Now let's be entirely fair and grounded. Quantization is an indispensable tool. When you're layering complex arrangements or tracking multi-instrumental parts, snapping elements to the grid keeps things tight, clean, and broadcast ready. It saves time, keeps production moving, and provides a dependable foundation. That's basic utility. But here is where we've lost the plot. Why have we turned human timing into something we feel forced to correct? The most iconic grooves in music history, from classic J Dilla swing to low-slung trip-hop rhythms, were built entirely on micro-timing offsets. Having the snare drum sitting just a fraction of a millisecond behind the beat, and the hi-hats pulling just so slightly forward. A synth chord landing with natural human velocity. That offset is where swing lives. When you select all and hit 100% hard quantize, you are not fixing the music. You're erasing its heart rate. You're turning an organic performance into a mechanical blueprint. So ask yourself, are we making beats to satisfy a visual door grid? Or are we making beats to move human bodies? That commitment to natural tactile swing is at the core of Herbs and Spices, available on all platforms right now. And the companion project, More Herbs and Spices, is dropping this Friday, August the 14th. Every groove, every progressive keyboard pass, every trip-hop drum pattern on these albums was played and sequenced by hand, 100% original, 0 borrowed loop packs, no robotic gridlocking, and tuned deliberately to 432 Hz. It's music crafted with human hands for human ears. If you're new here, my name is Reflection. I produce trip-hop, chill-hop, and progressive lo-fi. 100% original compositions, 0 samples, tuned intentionally to 432 Hz. Did I tell you my name is Reflection? My current album, Herbs and Spices, is streaming everywhere right now across all DSPs. And the companion project, More Herbs and Spices, drops this Friday, August the 14th. So if you haven't done so already, give them a listen. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear your feedback, and of course your opinions regarding these hot takes we're doing. Take a quick liquid break. I think we'll be moving to my last hot take for today's stream. All right. So let me pose a question directly to all the producers and music lovers in the chat right now. When you're listening to a new track, are you judging it with your eyes or with your ears? And as a creator, how often do you catch yourself staring at a visual waveform instead of actually listening to the room? Drop your answers in the chat while we unpack this, because visual fatigue in music production is a massive, unspoken creative bottleneck. Now let's be entirely reasonable and acknowledge the power of modern software. Digital audio workstation, DAWs, and visual displays are unbelievable technical achievements. Having visual spectrum analyzers, detailed waveform editors, and color-coded tracks makes complex arrangement and surgical mixing faster and more precise than it has ever been in human history. That visual feedback serves a real, practical purpose. But here is where the creative disconnect happens. When did we start making music for our eyes? When you build a track staring at a screen, your brain starts making choices based on visual symmetry rather than acoustic feeling. You start tweaking an EQ because a graph looks slightly uneven. Or you move a drum hit because it doesn't align visually with the vertical line on a monitor, even if it sounded incredible in the room. When you step away from the screen and sequence directly on dedicated hardware, feeling the pads, twisting physical knobs, listening without visual clutter, your ears regain total control of the creative direction. So let me ask you straight up, does your favorite song feel good because of how it looks on a computer screen, or because of how it vibrates in your chest and makes you feel? That exact philosophy of ear-first tactile creation is built directly into Herbs and Spices, out now across all DSPs. And the companion project, More Herbs and Spices, dropping this Friday, August the 14th. Every single arrangement, every progressive synth line, and every trip-hop groove across these two albums was crafted hands-on, 100% original, zero sample packs, zero visual shortcuts, and tuned intentionally to 432 Hz. It's music engineered by ear, designed to be experienced with your eyes closed and felt in your heart. Now family, that's going to do it for tonight's stream. A huge love to every single one of you who tapped in, dropped your takes in the chat and voted in the polls and kicked it with me tonight. Whether you agree that 432 Hz hits different, or you're still riding for classic sample flips, I really appreciate you sharing your energy with the room. If you resonated with what we've been building here tonight, 100% original compositions, zero pre-made sample loops, unquantized human swing, tuned to 432 Hz, do me a huge favor before you scroll away. Tap the follow button right here on the live so you don't miss the next live session. Head to your favorite streaming app, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, iTunes, and search for Reflection, spelled RFLXN. Go and press play on Herbs and Spices tonight. Turn shuttle off, or turn shuttle off. Turn off shuffle, put on a good pair of headphones, and let the full album play from front to back. And remember, the story doesn't stop here. The companion album, More Herbs and Spices, drops everywhere this Friday, August the 14th. Lock that in, save the date, and go stream Herbs and Spices right now to get ready. Stay creative, stay positive, trust your ears, and I'll catch you all on the next stream. I love you, Ruts. Bye for now.